Or not. I don't look like Brandon Lowe, right?
No, you don't.
Welcome in, everybody, to the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt, or for today, it's the Ryan Pritt Show with Jack Withrow, or whatever you want to say. As you can tell, our captain is missing today, so the inmates are going to take the penitentiary and run with it today.
Yeah.
So
That's what we're going to do.
We're going to try to last an hour and a half without getting us kicked out forever. That's pretty much my goal every day. That's Jack. This is me. Thanks to our partners, HD Media and Video Productions. We're here at Generations Physical Therapy, correct?
Hey, you got it right.
Well, I think he just needs to let me handle that one. For some reason, that sticks with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so welcome in, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to have a good show today without Brandon. Of course, Brandon not here, which could only mean one thing. We're starting on time here.
On time. Yeah.
Right at 11:31. We're already in and going, so... Sorry, Brandon, you weren't here. I had to take a quick shot. You understand?
Got to get your if you're not going to be here, we're getting jabs in.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing is he knows I will take that same jab even if he's sitting right here. I don't discriminate. So, how was your weekend, buddy?
It was short. I worked 6 days last week, so worked Saturday about a half a day. I was listening to the our last podcast on Friday with Coach Huff, and he's talking about grilling burgers and the family getting back together and going out and getting some potato salad. I was like, and I'm sitting at work, and I was like, man, that sounds good. So I call up my youngest son. I was like, hey, go to Kroger, get the burgers, the buns, some lettuce, tomatoes, and some potato salad. When I get home, we're grilling out, and I did. So it was great. Sunday, I took the day and went up to Glenville State. I've never been to a baseball game there. Or a softball game.
How was it?
Man, that is a nice complex. If you've ever, I don't know if you've ever been
I have
there.
not, no.
Of course, I played at Tackett. We played football at Glenville State back in the early 90s, and it was much different then. But and I've been to the Waco Center for basketball. But
I've heard nothing about nice things.
Yeah.
Nice things about it, too.
And so I was like, man, I'm going to go up there. UC was playing in a doubleheader. So I went up and watched that, and the softball team was playing as well.
Yeah.
So it's you've got the baseball field and then two softball fields right behind it, which could be Little League fields as well. But one's for Glenville State softball, and the other one's for Gilmer County High School softball.
Oh, wow.
They've got it all decked. I mean, it is professional.
Nice.
It is really nice up there. If you're ever in that area, I know it's kind of, you're not going to be in that area unless you're supposed to be in that area. So,
yeah.
But and it's a top-notch facility.
Well, very cool, man. Heck of a weekend to watch stuff outside.
Yeah. So of course you went up to Morgantown Saturday.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll get to that. I'd say probably in our second segment. We of course have a guest today. I probably should have thrown that out there at the top. This is a rookie move. Sorry about that. We got Ken Tackett coming on, PGA Tour official, former WVGA executive director, jazz musician, sworn nemesis of Bryson DeChambeau. That's how I'm going to introduce him today. It's going to be the longest intro we've ever had for a guest. But
just let him take it from there.
But that should be great, man, because obviously he's on, I think he's still in New Orleans. He said he was in Central Time. That's where the tour was yesterday, so I'm assuming that's where he probably is. We'll ask him, obviously. But the cool thing about Ken was when I first started my career in when was that? 08, I guess. I was a part-timer, and then about 09 and 2010s when Vingle started letting me do stories, actually. One of my jobs was to call Ken once a week and bug him because just to kind of get the ins and outs on the WGA and that kind of stuff. So been talking to Ken for a long, long time. Great dude. This is going to be fun. Good to have him back. So after that, we can probably open the can of worms on the W spring game and talk that. But, I wanted to throw a poll question out there, and I have an important question to ask you.
Me?
Yeah, and anyone else that's listening. Please give us feedback, by the way. You can find us all over social media.
Yeah, and we have a ticker today, so the phone number is on the ticker.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, please respond, and we'll get to everybody's feedback on Friday when we're back. But there's a really, really important question that comes around about this time every year for a man who lives in a house. Did you turn on your air conditioner this weekend?
Me, I
of course, you weren't there all weekend.
No, but I'm sure my wife did. I don't know.
Okay.
I honestly don't. So I did not.
This is a divisive question among households.
we've been in and out of this extreme weather.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's bipolar.
Yeah.
So it's either hot one day and freezing cold the next. So
because we're gonna touch the mid 80s again today, but I think tomorrow don't we get back down to like 65?
Yeah.
So I have resisted the urge thus far.
Yeah. Well, I know one family that has not. It's my in-laws.
I know one building that has not, and we're sitting in it.
Well, it seems like the air conditioner.
What you guys don't know is we actually record this in a meat locker, which is nice. There's a steak hanging up in the
venison over on the right side, some buffalo meat.
Yeah.
But
no, it's amazing how much couples like. Because I went around and hung out with some friends on Saturday, and the differing philosophies on this came up. You know, you're sitting around having a pop and just talking. And I learned a really important lesson this weekend, by the way, too. Well, actually, this morning. Roosters don't only crow in the morning.
Nah.
Did you know that?
I did know that.
I was awakened.
You're the English.
I don't know. Yeah, it's been a while. By a rooster crowing at 4:05 this morning. Completely dark outside because I left my windows open. I'm fighting it off, and I'm a big I'd rather be cold than hot guy. But with that coming the next few days, like you said, you're gonna have the heat on tomorrow night. I'm not gonna bounce back and forth. I just can't. I just can't let myself do it. So, and in order to try to help out, I left all the windows open and all the fans on yesterday, which probably takes up just as much energy as running the AC. I don't know, but so at 4 o'clock this morning, a rooster starts sounding off next door and stumble to the window, fall over some laundry, that whole thing. But it's a hot button issue right now.
It is, and like I said, my in-laws, my father-in-law, he will not. I don't know. Probably mid-June, maybe he'll turn the air conditioner on.
Mid-June.
We were up there for Easter, and it was like, oh my goodness,
I'm not gonna make it to June.
Felt like a ham in the oven up there.
Yeah, like the thermostat in my hallway said 76 yesterday, and I don't do well in 76. So.
Yeah.
I'm thinking today. See, I've got a softball game tonight, by the way, if you're interested. We get Nitro in Sissonville tonight.
At Nitro?
I'll have to check that out. Let me get back to you on the break. Got so many this week. Going up to Hurricane tomorrow for South Charleston Hurricane, the return trip, by the way. You might be interested in that one. So my thought is if I go home today and I mow grass, which needs done, and I weed eat a little bit, and then I go out and I sit in the sun and I watch softball all day. When I come home, 76 is going to feel like, 68.
Right.
So we're going to try that method today and see how that works.
I was down at spring training down in Florida one year. We were seeing a guy that used to live with us that played for the Power, pitched for the Power. So we went down there in March. And no. And when the return trip back in June, we went back in June or July, I can't remember, but it was in the middle of summer. And, man, it is blazing hot.
Oh, yeah.
In Bradenton, Florida.
Yeah.
So we went out and watched him, and it's just bugs and sweat. I mean, it's brutal. But then we go out to eat. We pick him up. Dude's in, long sleeve shirts. I'm like, dude, it is hot out here. He's like, no, you don't understand. I'm in this heat all day. When we go to an inside to eat, it feels like, it's frigid to us.
Yeah. My buddy I've mentioned does heating and cooling in the Tampa area, and he says most people on average keep their AC at 76, 77 down there.
Yeah.
Which, like I said yesterday, it was 76 in my house and I was dying, and he said, but you can see him if it's 74, he's kind of shriveled up, and I'm like, oh my God, which is always cool for him because he comes home on Christmas. And one year we went to, I had a place I could go in Canaan Valley. I used to spend New Year's Eve in Canaan Valley, and he came straight from Florida, and we went to Canaan Valley, and it was minus 12 on New Year's Eve. And I was like, man, I bet this is just crazy. And he said, you have no idea. So
it is crazy. We went to on a cruise it was early December. And it was cold here, obviously, but the cruise was like an 8-day cruise, 7 nights, 8 days in the Bahamas and that whole thing, and over to Mexico. So when we fly back, I'm in shorts, flip-flops, a T-shirt. We land up here at Jaeger, and they don't take us all the way into what's the thing that comes out, the walkway. Mm-hmm. So we have to get off the plane and walk across the tarmac.
That's common practice at Jaeger, yeah.
And it's snowing.
Yeah.
So I'm here in flip-flops. T-shirt, trying to get to the car. Car's frozen up. It's brutal.
I'm going to Florida leaving Monday night next week, so I'll be here on the Monday pod.
A little fishing vacation?
Yeah. And my parents were already going down. Like I said, my buddy lives down there, so I'm going to go hang out with him for a day or two, then go fish with the old man for a day or two. And I've had, I think, as of yesterday, I've had 6 days off this year. So I'm going to take a few. I need a few. So I'll be here Monday, and then we'll be off Friday. But that same thing may happen to me because my buddy's already told me, he's like, dude, it's 96 here.
Wow.
Like we're here. It's like, God. So, yeah, it's going to be a little different.
If it's already 96 and it's April.
We're going to play golf that first day. I've been down there in July. Now
that's what I'm saying.
Like I remember playing golf in Tampa,
nothing but
Florida,
sweat
July,
and bugs.
And we teed off at 7:45, and it was 92. I mean, it was just forget about it. So, but yes, you want to sneak this break in here?
Yeah, let's take a break.
Okay, let's take a break, and when we see you on the other side, we'll be here with Ken Tackett from the PGA Tour. So hold tight. All right, guys, welcome back to the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt, minus Brandon Lowe today, who's out. We're joined by a great guest today. This is PGA Tour rules official, jazz musician, former WVGA executive director, sworn nemesis of Bryson DeChambeau. This is Ken Tackett. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Thanks for having me in today.
Yeah, you say you're in Mexico?
I am. PGA Tour is having an event this week, the Mexico Open at Vedanta. It took the place of the World Golf Championship at Mexico City with the reshuffle of the schedule, and this is a new venue and kind of a revived event of the Mexico Open. So really excited. John Rahm is our highest ranked player here. It's a beautiful spot. It's in Puerto Vallarta. I'm not pronouncing that right.
Well, very
cool.
cool.
The west coast of Mexico.
Well, Jack and I here were just complaining about how hot it is here. So what's it like in Mexico about right now?
It's I have to say, it's absolutely perfect. The weather is 10 to 15 breeze and probably upper 70s, low 80s every day.
Very nice. Were you in New Orleans this past weekend?
No, I've actually been to Mexico for more than a week now, just getting ready. With the new event, we always tend to spend more time in preparation to make sure that just the logistics of international travel and everything else associated with a new event goes off without a problem.
Hey, Ken, Jack Withrow here. You're talking about new events or any events, really. What preparation do officials like you have before these events take place?
Well, Jack, the competition is, first and foremost the important part of a PGA Tour event, but there's a lot more that goes into, to running the event, from transportation to sponsor, events to, placement and building of all of the grandstands and the chalets and any of the venues that are on property, getting everybody from the maintenance team following, for years, this is like an event like here, they do what they do to prepare for resort guests. But when you're doing a competition, we want to follow certain protocols and systems so that it ensures success. And, so just kind of getting everybody rowing in the right direction. And then making sure that every aspect, including safety and, here we don't have a weather issue because it's more of an arid climate on the west coast of Mexico. But looking at your evacuation plans, and there's a lot more to it than just teeing it up and playing golf. That's actually typically the easiest part because the golf professionals and the caddies kind of know what to do. It's just getting them to the course and then getting them off the course. That's always the challenge.
You said it was a new venue, I believe. What are we going to see out of this golf course here?
It's long. It's Paspalum warm weather grass, which is typical down in Central and South America. It's really hardy. The greens won't be fast, somewhere in just over 11 on the stem, but with a bit of a sea breeze in the afternoon, we have several par fours over 500 yards, 3 par fives over 600 yards, and the final holes, 15 through 18, are going to be really exciting. The 16 is a monster par 4, 17 is a beautiful par 3 over a big pond, and then 18 is a reachable par 5. So it'll be pretty exciting coming down the stretch.
It's just not the same game anymore, is it?
It's amazing. I have to tell you, we have a 520-yard par 4. It's very generous. The rough is 2 inches, 2.5, not much. There'll be more of like flyer lies where balls will jump, but it is 520-yard par 4, and it's going to be significant. So it definitely has changed.
I like to gripe and complain about my travel schedule in the fall, following W around, and then I talk to you, and I'm like, my God, like, what are the frequent flyer miles like for you? Can you pretty much circumnavigate the globe a couple times for free by the end of the year? Is that about right?
It really is. I go to Korea typically a couple times a year, and then we start out the season in Hawaii, and then back and forth between the West Coast and East Coast of the U.S. and up and around Mexico. It's a global tour, global game with with travel that's going to continue to increase. And we're going to be in Europe for the Scottish Open and the Open Championship at St. Andrews this summer. So it's pretty exciting. It's the fun part of the job is the travel. It's the hard part and the fun part. I always try to embrace it and enjoy the local culture and the local cuisine and just kind of enjoy the ride, to say, rather than to, get into the grind of staying in a hotel. And, if you focus on that, it can get tough on you.
Yeah. You mentioned the Open. I'm assuming you were at Augusta, right?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously cool to have the fans back there and in its normal springtime spot there. And, that's obviously such a mecca of golf for everybody that pays any attention to golf. So, for you being there, what was that place like, that environment? And, just give us one or two things about Augusta that maybe you can't tell on TV that just make it stand out even more so when you're there.
Well, it's what you imagine as far as the quality and the attention to detail. It's that there's no detail that's not that goes unnoticed. It's amazing. It's just immaculate. The level of service from the staff on the ground, it's comparable to what you see at a Disney. When they really want everything to be perfect and the experience to be perfect. The shopping and everything outside the road perfect. The golf course and the actual tournament, you hear on television, you can't appreciate how hilly it is. Well, it truly is. It is. It's similar to what you see in West Virginia. It's a little more rolling and not as maybe as steep as like a Berry Hills or some of the courses like that. But it is a lot of up and down and side hills. So to see Tiger going through what he did with all of his physical, challenges, just the walk of the golf course is what I would imagine have been the biggest challenge for him, is because it's just up and down hills on the side hill lies and it's way more severe than you can appreciate on television. This year, they had some wind, a little bit of cold spell, so the azaleas didn't pop like you see, but that's always breathtaking in person. They do. CBS does an amazing job, telecasting the Masters, but it's still not the same. Just seeing and being down on Amen Corner and left of 13 to see the azaleas just popping, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, Ken, you talk about traveling all over the world. How often do you get back to West Virginia?
Well, I still live in Charleston,
okay.
And so it's usually I try to go work 2 weeks, off a week, or kind of that schedule. I try not to go more than 2 if I can help it. Sometimes early in the season, we have a lot of multi-course events in Pebble Beach and Palm Springs and San Diego, so it's a little more. It's more condensed early in the season, and with my kids when they're out of school, I like to try to take more time off in the summer. Which we in West Virginia, you think, the golf season is April, October. Well, for us, it's January through December because we follow the sun. So when it's cold at home in West Virginia, we're in tropical areas or on the West Coast.
Hate that for
you. Yeah, no, trust me. My wife I have the best wife in the world. She's very, very supportive of the travel, and I try not to send too many pictures of where I am when I know that it's rainy and dark and snow back home.
Hey, let me ask you this, man. You mentioned the Tiger aspect of Augusta, and that got a ton of headlines, and obviously for good reason. But are we underappreciating what Scotty Scheffler's doing so far this year? I mean, he's doing some remarkable stuff so far, right?
It is. It is. I think it's a culmination of a few things. I think he's coming into his comfort level on the PGA Tour. For the players, it's tough too to kind of get accustomed to the travel and to getting into the different types of golf courses that we play. I think him adding in Teddy Scott, his caddy, longtime caddy for Bubba, the trust level and the experience and the collaboration between the two is kind of, you see a little more focus, I think, maybe from Scotty, that, again, it's just finite, just small little things. And the talent level that he possesses to move the ball and to it's very impressive. And I do think he gets overshadowed because they don't know his name, maybe as a Dustin Johnson or as a Rory McIlroy or someone like that. But the young man can play, and on top of that, he is an exceptional human being. He's just very caring, very takes time to talk to fans. What you see is what you get with him, and he's one of the good people in sports. And I think we should all sit back and enjoy it. It seems like you get these fights from time to time. Jordan, obviously Jordan just won, and Hilton Head, and he's obviously amazing player as well. But I think he's got a lot more to show that you'll see this season.
Yeah. And as someone who's been around the world and followed this game now for quite a few years now, is there a place that you look especially forward to going every year? Is it, not counting Augusta, not counting the obvious one, but just somewhere where you're like, man, this place when you're here in person is unbelievable?
Yeah, I love Torrey Pines. I think it's just a beautiful piece of, the real estate, the golf course, the south course of Torrey Pines. It's just a great test of golf. I love going to Hilton Head. I think it's I haven't went the last couple of years just because of some of the schedule changes and some of my responsibilities. But the community's great. It's a smaller venue as far as distance and height. It's a different challenge for the players. I always like, I know this seems crazy, and I'm not trying to evade your question. But I mean, everywhere we go, it's pretty fun, and you can look at the different elements that make it fun. You go to Phoenix. Phoenix is probably the largest sporting event outdoors in the world, and it's 250,000 people on Saturday. It's great. I mean, it's so much fun, exciting. There's also a beautiful place with the mountains and the restaurants and so you just kind of enjoy the whole thing. It's not just the golf tournament; it's the communities that you go to, the people, the charities that you support. The Salesmanship Club in Dallas, they support that tournament. Generates enough money to support a program for battered women in the Dallas area. $8 million a year that's generated from a golf tournament, and so and the community's all in on that. And so, yes, it's fun. Yes, it's a good test. Yes, it's amazing. It's this, but there's way more encompassing to what these communities do each week. And you invest in that, and you love the golf course. You love the architecture. You love the history aspect of the game, the sport, all that. That's I try not to take that stuff for granted, but there's way more to it. The people, I think the people, just like anything, the people make it.
Sure. You able to keep the drum skills sharp on the road as much as you are?
Yeah, the pandemic, it really stung because we did a great job on the PGA Tour to keep the tour moving through this pandemic and to travel, and which is a monumental effort to keep things moving with these different towns, different states, different localities, different health departments, and the state governments, all the different challenges we had. So we were so safe, and we had such a robust testing protocol for staff and for players. I didn't do a lot of playing because I just didn't want to take a risk of exposure and the trickle down effect it would have if I were to possibly take out half of the rule staff or players or whatever. So I just try to be very cautious about where and what I did during the last 18 months or 2 years now. And so I'm hoping to get back out playing more. And the travel, it's just hard to balance it all. Mm. But I definitely do. I mean, I definitely get a chance to play with Landau Eugene Murphy when I can, and there's some other groups that I play with from time to time that it's kind of good because I can fill in. They can get people to cover most of the gigs, and then it's nice for me just to slide in and fill in so that it works better with the schedule. But I do keep my hands up. I have a little practice pad, and in the evening it's a kind of a good escape from the focus here of running a golf tournament.
Yeah, last one here, and we'll let you go. I know you're a busy guy, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because people who don't get up and close and personal to golf tournaments like I've had the privilege to do, especially at the Greenbrier a few times, those player rules official conversations can get kind of fun out on the golf course for a neutral observer. So give us a story, man. You don't have to give us any names if you don't want. I don't want you to get anybody in trouble, but what's something, funny, memorable that's happened to you here over the last 6-7 years?
Well, I don't mind. I mean, I would first tell you that the level of respect that you have for one another, as most professional athletes and referees do, is very high, and they know we have a job to do as much as we know that they're competing for millions of dollars and lots of an important spot in history in a worldwide sport. So, I mean, I would say that at first, that it's, even if you see it get contentious, that it's really not. It's just there's just a lot of pressure that sometimes that might seem like it's more heated than it is. But I would say an interesting experience that I've had is it seemed like, especially during the COVID times, Bryson DeChambeau, every time he had a ruling of any consequence, it was me that showed up on the scene. And so I, and ever since he was a rookie, he and I've got along great. And, to the point where, he's very comfortable talking to me about different issues going on with, whatever might be with the rules of golf or policies or et cetera. And so I would say that a funny, not a challenging one was that, we were at the Memorial in Dublin, and we had a second opinion on the radio. So what happens is that you go into a ruling, you give your assessment of the situation, and the player can say, hey, listen, I appreciate that, but I'd like to have someone else take a look at this. For whatever reason. It might be a judgment call, or they just might not have the confidence that, that maybe they just want to hear it from someone else.
Sure.
Sometimes honestly, it's just for them to maybe collect their thoughts. They kind of know what the outcome's going to be, but it gives them a moment to kind of just, okay, let me just deal with the situation.
Sure.
So, and I pull up, and it's Bryson, and his ball is outside by half an inch, outside of out of bounds. I'm like, oh my God. So I knew it, but I could tell he was upset, and he just wanted to vent. So I just pulled in. I could see he kind of knew, and so I just listened to slowly and calmly explain to him what the rule was, and that is the challenge of the rules, is that you just, most of the time, you're just kind of a psychologist of, explaining of what's going on. Well, then I had a fire ant ruling with him in Memphis, and then I had a lost ball ruling with him at the Masters, and then this past year we're at Memphis again on the hole before the fire ant hole. It's like the 6th hole at Memphis, and I get a ruling from television. They're like, hey, listen, we got a ball that's just outside the fence. It's just on the fence line at 6. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm right there. And then radio kicks in. This is Bryson coming up. I'm thinking, oh my God, no. So before he gets there, I grab the string and I get it, and he's inbounds by half an inch. And so as he's walking up, you can just see it on his face, like, you've got to be kidding me. He's just. And I said, hey, got good news. Your ball's inbounds. No, I mean, of course, it's rammed underneath the fence. He's standing on a car path, so he's able to get relief, but it just kind of works that way in cycles, and I don't know if that's what you were looking for as far of it, but that it seems that to be the case, is that you get in these rulings and you see the same guy or the same player, like 2 months in a row. You're like, come on, can I get someone else?
So fate has just thrust you two together more often than anything. That's why, I had you on, and I was telling Jack, I've talked to you since 2009. I think I used to call you once a week when I was a part-timer at the Gazette. You were one of my first assignments, and I'll be watching golf with a friend, and here you are on TV, and I'm like, hey man, that guy, I know him. I've talked to him many times, and inevitably every time that happens, you're talking to Bryson DeChambeau, and they're like, what, how do they keep it enough together? And I'm like, he's just got to make a ruling on this. It just so happens that Bryson's always the guy that needs the ruling, I guess, but it is funny that always happens.
Well, I was looking at there were some photos that they were doing for the Mexico Open, and I forgot that I had a really interesting ruling with him in Mexico City 4 years ago. I was like, my God, it's like, I think when his career is done and looks at the ruling, it's going to be, there's going to be all these pictures of me and him beside each other. But, he's a very talented young man. He's been battling some injuries over the season, but I love the fact that he's kind of, challenging the status quo for what we're used to, and those type of things are great for the game. Be constantly always reimagining what can be and what we should be trying to do, not just sitting back. And and you see it. I saw Danny Lee the other day. He's doing the speed training, and he's gained some distance, and he's bulked up some. And there's a lot of other players that are taking note of what he's doing, and it's pretty exciting.
That's awesome. Ken, man, I appreciate your time. Let's do it again soon, and enjoy Mexico and travel safe for wherever you're headed next, my friend.
Hey, good luck with the podcast. It's exciting. I'm happy to help anytime, and I'll be looking forward to listening to you guys.
Appreciate it, Ken. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, bye.
Ken Tackett, everybody. Great dude there.
I don't want to play golf with Ken Tackett.
Yeah, that would be.
I like to bend the rules some.
That 3 foot gimme radius is not good. It's not passing with Ken Tackett.
I can just imagine myself, over on the edge of the woods at Berry or Sleepy or Little Creek. Me using a little foot wedge every once in a while.
That can't be an easy job, to have to tell Bryson DeChambeau, hey, yeah, you're out of here by a half inch, pal. And then him just going off on you, and I'm sure,
And probably the TV makes it look worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're probably zooming in on his face and
well,
and you don't hear the actual conversation.
Yeah, well, you probably can't. There's not enough bleep buttons.
Well, but and he's right. These guys are focused. I mean, they are laser focused on what they're wanting to do. And then they're getting told no.
And they're playing for their livelihoods.
And they know they have to follow those rules. So.
Yeah, Ken's a fascinating guy, man. Jazz degree to PGA Tour rules official. I mean, that's a road that not many have traversed, I have to imagine. He gets to play with Landau and pretty cool stuff, man. So
that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so you wanna head to break for a minute and we'll come back and we'll tackle some WVU spring game stuff.
Let's do it. All right.
All right, guys, welcome back. Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt with Jack Ruther minus Brandon Lowe today. Is that I gotta get all that out right?
No captain.
No captain. The ship is. I think we're still sailing it straight, though, right?
I think so.
We're not. We haven't sunk yet. I don't think.
Had a great conversation with Ken Tackett.
Yeah, he was wonderful as always. And,
down in western Mexico.
That'd be a guy. That's a guy I would like to have on intermittently throughout the year.
Just to see where he's at.
Yeah. Every month, every couple months, maybe.
And it's cool because you can watch these PGA events on TV and see them. So
Ken's,
it's good to see a local guy out there.
Yeah, out there, like you said, battling with Bryson DeChambeau, dispelling the rumors that they hate each other.
Got a string line out there.
Yeah, you heard it here first. Ken, breaking news. Ken Tackett, Bryson DeChambeau do not hate each other. So there you go. Thanks again to our partners, Video Productions, HD Media. Thanks to Generations Physical Therapy. See, that's 2 for 2.
Yep.
For housing us here, you can find us on Spotify. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah.
If you can't find us, it's your own fault at this point, right?
Yeah. We're on Gazette Mail Facebook, as also on Herald Dispatch Video Productions, and the Brandon Lowe Show with Ryan Pritt.
There we go.
Plus YouTube, and like you said, Spotify.
So we're pretty much
Google and Apple.
We're throwing ourselves in front of you at every possible corner. So it's pretty much impossible to live and not see us somewhere. So when you do, just click and give us a listen, and you get to hear fun stories about Bryson DeChambeau, and you also get to hear fun stories about Saturday spring game. What a transition. Man, if Brandon was here, he would have liked that. Just looked over like he was going to be sitting there. Anyway, W spring game Saturday. That was, of course, something that everyone was talking about going into the end of the weekend, and you said you haven't got to see it yet, or?
I did watch some.
You watched some of it?
Yeah. I was in and out. I was watching a little bit of UC baseball. They were playing up at Glenville State, and then WVU baseball were playing a doubleheader Saturday.
That didn't go well for them, did it?
Not on Saturday. It went really well on Sunday.
They salvaged the third one, right? To hold off the sweep or whatever.
Yeah, what I watched of it, obviously it's a spring game. Offensive plays very vanilla. Defensive, there's not a whole lot of stunning or blitzing, so they're playing straight up. So, but you got a little grasp of what's out there.
It's tough to get any kind of course, I was up there for the game.
Yeah.
It's tough to get any kind of grasp of run game stuff at all, either run offense or run defense, because you can't tackle Tony Mathis. So when he meets
they blow the whistle.
When he meets Dante Stills in the hole at the line of scrimmage, who's to say that Tony Mathis doesn't break the tackle? Who's to say that Stills makes the tackle?
Here's what I thought was funny though. When Nico ran it, he got tackled twice, at least twice. I'm thinking.
Actually, Ford Wheaton took it. Absolutely, it was Sam James. He took a shot over the middle and was like hurt for a minute. And I'm like, oh my god,
Well, he came down, and I
think he got the wind knocked out.
Yeah,
he landed on his back.
He came down on the ground. Yeah,
so he was fine, I think. But and that's the biggest thing. I didn't see any injuries out there.
Yeah, that's the
other
greatest
than that
thing.
one. Yeah, which I think was.
And he walked it off.
I think he actually came back in the game, so it was fine. But there were some things that you could see, though. I mean, the play calling, for one, and again, this is a spring game. I think I had the passes versus runs at 58-37. Passing the ball is just easier in this situation because, like I said, you run the ball up the middle, and it could be a 2-yard gain or an 80-yard gain. You're just not going to know without tackling.
They blow the whistle.
Right.
You could break arm tackles, things like that, but you couldn't do that Saturday.
Yeah, so it was kind of tough. James Gamitter was on afterwards, of course, starting guard, and he brought up the fact that they didn't give up a sack, and that he's right. They didn't. I didn't see a sack on.
There was no stunning.
And I mean, they weren't going to tackle him, but I think if you touched a quarterback,
I'll tell you what, though, on that great catch by, was it Preston?
Well, I was getting to him.
Well, there was almost a sack there by Zachy Lawton.
Yeah.
I mean, he was right there.
Yeah, he was in.
And I don't know if he held back because of they know they can't hit the quarterback like that or what. But
I made it a point to watch Zachy a couple of times, and he made some plays Saturday. I mean, he looked good.
Yeah. And even when he didn't make a tackle, he was clogging up the holes.
Yeah. I thought he performed well. And defensively, it was hard to tell. I thought Andrew Wilson-Lamp made a heck of a pass breakup right at the end of the first quarter. I think it was the last play where I think it was Will Crowder, who I'll also get to in a minute, threw a back shoulder ball to, I think it was Prather in the end zone.
Yeah.
Perfect throw, perfect route, and Wilson-Lamp just made a play. And that was a group I was really wanting to watch, was the secondary, and they were tested all day long. And I thought Wilson-Lamp played about as well as anybody did back there. But Preston Fox, I mean, if there was anything in that game that stood out, it was Preston Fox. I mean, you're talking 5 catches for 117. That diving throw catch that you're talking about is as good a catch I've seen in that stadium since, John Pennington? I mean.
Against Pitt?
Yeah, I mean, that was unreal. And then, I don't know if you saw this in the second half, they called it incomplete. I thought he made another one, but he also got interfered with. So he ended up getting 15 yards for the offense. Anyway, I thought he caught the ball. He acted like he got it. But that kid, I mean, all spring long, you heard Neil Brown, you heard Harold, you heard all the offensive coaches just talking about this kid. And he's a walk-on from Morgantown High. If you're not familiar, if you were watching TV Saturday, like, who the hell is this guy? And got a lot of opportunities this spring because of the transfers. They just didn't have many bodies in the wideout room. I mean, you had your 3 starters, and then you had Malashevich and Reese Smith, and basically I think Fox was taking reps on the second team because there was no one else there.
Yeah.
And he just showed out all spring long. And from practice, too, Neil Brown was talking about the kid. This kid he just keeps making catches. If you throw it near him, he's catching the football. And, of course, the coolest thing was he gets a scholarship right after the game. His parents come in the locker room, and the team mugs him. But I think if you're watching that game Saturday and you were in the house or you were watching it at home, I don't know how he's not the first thing that you come out of that game thinking about, because he did it all. 5 catches, 1. And another thing, the second possession of the game, is Nico's first possession. Second play, they're on their own 40-yard line, and he runs a wheel route, and he's wide open, and Nico floats one out there and just misses him by a yard.
Overthrow. Yeah.
If he catches that, he's walking to the end zone. He's going to 6 catches for 190 and 2 touchdowns. It's unbelievable.
Here's what I was thinking when that happened, and that overthrow on that. It's like, you always talk about, wait till he overthrows a guy and then see what the fans say about him.
The fans ready to run him out of Morgantown already. No, that didn't happen. I tried to,
That's the first thing that came to my mind when I saw that. It was like Ryan's thing about fans.
I think I missed most of any Twitter stuff on Saturday.
Of course, JT Daniels coming now. The fans are probably backed off a little bit on Nico,
that kind of changes.
Might be a good thing.
That changed everything. I think it is a good thing for Nico as long as he stays. And there's nothing that I've heard that says he won't. it's hard for me to believe all 4 of them are staying. And I guess we're going to find out, like you said off air, here in about the next 5 days, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's closing quickly.
Yeah.
To be eligible.
Yeah. And I thought Crowder was great. Now, Brown said after the game that was his best practice of the spring, which tells me, maybe it was a slow progression. Maybe he's a gamer more than a practice guy, which you can do. Maybe he just had a good day. I don't know. But, when Brown says that kind of tells me maybe he hasn't been the guy all spring. So I don't know. I don't know about him or Green. I don't know who stays, who goes. But I didn't think Green looked particularly great. He made a couple good throws there to start the third quarter, but when you're throwing to Fort Wheaton, who, by the way, guys, you go stand next to that kid.
Specimen.
He's a guy. Like, that
Specimen.
guy is an NFL build receiver. I'm not saying he's getting drafted. I'm saying if he went, he would not look out of place. That's what I'm saying. And he made a couple of catches on those first 2 plays of third quarter were outrageous. They were both over top of people. So, Green just chucking it up for that guy, which is always, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. And Prather did that too. Both of those guys on the outside, and then you're watching Harrell throw it all over the yard, and you're just thinking, God, if Daniels can stay healthy, or if anybody can just throw the ball within a 3-yard radius of Prather, Ford Wheaton, and I guess Preston Fox too. Yeah, it'd be tough to stop him.
Well, you talked about the transfer portal, and that's given some of these guys like Preston the opportunity.
Yeah.
And he took advantage of it here in the spring. So, and it probably not just him. There's probably others there too that we just don't see or hear about. But.
Yeah, and that's an aspect that never gets talked about. That's a good point because, when these rooms get depleted, and you're seeing it in the secondary too. I mean,
right.
Maybe not so much of walk-ons, but, Wilson Lamp's a redshirt freshman. Davis Mallinger's a redshirt freshman. Are these guys starting normally? Probably not. But now that the portal's cleared out the entire room, they're getting all these reps. They're getting all these opportunities, and some guys are taking advantage of them. And that's kind of what you wanted to see in that game Saturday.
Yeah. So that's you're right. That's a good thing about that.
Yeah, and so it was a spring game. Did you see what the reported attendance was?
I did not. Were they guessing?
I don't know. And look,
12.5 is what my guess.
Wow, that's really good. The reported attendance was 12,678.
Okay.
Not even close.
Well, I know watching on TV, there was a ton of people underneath in the shade.
There were
in the boxes.
There was not 13,000 people in that place.
Both sides were open.
Yeah, no, there wasn't. It always strikes me as funny.
Tickets sold.
Yeah, it's what it is. And look, I'm not blaming anybody. It's just kind of funny because, Chuck and I were standing there, and he's writing a column about the game, obviously, and we go down to the field at the end of the fourth quarter, and we're looking around, and he's going to put the attendance in his column because he's taking that angle at it, and he's like, "What would you estimate?" And I'm looking around. I kind of take it all in. I'm like, "Are we counting players and staff?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." 3,500? He said, "I was probably going to go 3, but I'll give you 35. And then the reported attendance is 12. I was like, wow. All right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
And by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, how many people have left?
That's true. And you also got to wonder how much the Daniels news kept people from coming. I think if that's really the race for the starting quarterback job, are there more people there?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I'm not saying it's a bad, it's whatever. It's the spring game. It's not like if that was the crowd for like Texas Tech, I'd be like, all right. Yeah. But it's a spring game. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying anything negative. It's just an observation. But yeah, I don't know, man. It was cool. It's a spring game. I don't know how much you take out of it. It was good to see people on the field. It's good to see nobody get hurt. Good to see Casey Legg make a few kicks. That's another guy we don't talk about enough. I'm going to try to get him on this show over the summer.
What about the Australian punter?
I saw him a couple times. Like he was averaging 44. It's definitely an upgrade. Have one for 50 at one point. So that's what you're looking for there. And like I said, I think we talked about him last week. There's another guy that doesn't get talked about enough. We're so enamored with offense and defense. But just to get him out there, get him on the field. He had a lot of dignitaries in the house. Tony Fields was there. Saw him get interviewed. Pac-Man was there. Of course, Chris Henry's kid was there.
Also where Major Harris was there?
Yeah, Major was in the building.
Yeah.
A lot of people there, which made it fun. So you had great weather in Morgantown, which, let's be honest, that's always a roll of the dice. So had a really good, nice, sunny, 83-degree day. It was a good day, man. A good way to end the spring, and I think by all accounts, everyone's pretty happy with the way these 15 practices went. So,
and he talked about. I heard some comments after the game, and he talked about. I believe they've got like 18 to 23 more. Is it 18 more scholarship players coming in
already? And then they still have 4 or 5 scholarships to play with in terms of portal stuff. So you're going to start seeing that news. They're going to bring guys in.
Yeah, and like you said, this is the last week to get into that portal to be eligible for fall sports.
I would expect a linebacker. I would expect a guy in the secondary.
Another receiver
for sure. Another receiver probably. Yeah.
Another quarterback.
No. If that happens, I'm gonna be surprised. But if they lose 2 of them, you never know.
Yeah.
If they lose 2, they might have to get one. I don't. Of course, they played 7 quarterbacks Saturday.
I saw some walk-ons.
Yeah. So you had that too, and I don't know, man. It was a cool day, dude. Anytime you go up there, nobody gets hurt. You got good weather. It's a good day. So
yeah.
So
baseball team WU went down and took a couple on the chin on Saturday against Texas Tech, but
rebounded.
Wow on Sunday.
Yeah, they won big. What was that final? 15 to 4?
4.
Yeah.
You went like a 9 or 8 run. Ninth inning, was it, or 8th inning?
It was 10 run, wasn't it? Then they scored 10.
Yeah, maybe it was 10, and it was like dude hit a grand slam.
Yeah. So they're still hanging in there.
Get some of them runs on that on those other games.
Had a crazy.
But I mean that's Texas Tech. What they were ranked number 10 in the nation. So, but
getting into the teeth of that Big 12 schedule, obviously.
So it was good to at least get one win out of that. So
had a crazy race at Talladega yesterday. Ross Chastain picks up his 2nd win of the year, which is unbelievable. Yeah, an 8th generation watermelon farmer who celebrates by smashing a watermelon and eating it off the track, which is fun.
Nice.
And on a 2nd-year team, Trackhouse Racing, majority owner is Pitbull, the rapper. Yeah. And I mean, what they're doing this year is unbelievable. The fact that they've won 2 races is just mind blowing. He's, him and William Byron are the only 2 with multiple wins, but it is typical Talladega craziness at the end. You had Rex, you had Bubba Wallace out there coughing, holding his knees after taking a shot in the wall. And we all hope he's okay. But, another crazy Talladega race, and the success of Trackhouse Racing continues. So if you saw that one, that was good. You want to give us a quick Reds update while we're here?
They won.
Did they?
Yesterday.
So 3-15?
The Pirates and the Reds both won yesterday.
And it's been 15 years since that's happened before.
Probably.
I saw the Pirates look good. You want to talk about taking one on the chin Saturday?
21-0.
21-0. Got the old blackjack done to them by the Cubs. I think they turned around and won yesterday.
They did, yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. They both won yesterday.
It was funny. I don't know if you saw the video in the group chat. David Bednar on that closes the door, and if you haven't seen that video, the Pirates rebound with a win, and he has a couple choice words for the Cubs.
If you can read lips.
Yeah. So, and then we had the situation in New York. Did you see that?
Are they throwing stuff at the
Indians player? Look. You just won the game. Why are you throwing stuff at the other team?
It was like a walk-off base hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I don't know if you saw the whole situation or how much time we have.
I did not.
I'm going to try to squeeze it in just real quick. So the play happens in left field, and an Indians guy's running for the ball, and he crashes into the wall, and he ends up dinged up. Well, like the center fielder, and I had a couple other I'm sorry, it's not even the Indians anymore. This is how out of touch I am. The Guardians or Commanders or whatever stupid name they're going by now. They come running out. They get the ball. They throw it back. Well, apparently you got that low wall in left field. Some of the fans are like yelling stuff at this guy that's injured, like applauding him, like hoping he's hurt, like stuff. So one of the Indians climbs the fence. He doesn't go into the stands, but he gets up in front of this guy and starts pointing his finger. And you've got this whole scenario where all these Yankees fans are yelling and blah, blah, blah. Well, this was just the play that tied the game at 4. So everybody has to go back to their positions or whatever. And
so the guy goes out of the game?
Yeah, so he's hurt. So he's exit. Okay. He really went face first into the wall. I mean, he was cut up a little bit. I think he's okay. But so then the next batter is Gleyber Torres, who hits one to right center in the gap, scores the guy from second. Yankees win, pandemonium. The Indians right fielder is going to get the ball, and he turns around and walks in, and some dude chucks a full beer can out of the stands at him.
Yeah,
and he turned, and this is after what just happened.
Yeah.
So then it really goes nuts. He's up cussing at people. There's Indians
still
players.
throwing stuff down.
Gleyber Torres is standing on second base like, what just happened? And it ended up that Stanton and Judge are out in right field, like telling the fans not to throw stuff. And I'm just like, what is wrong? And like they're showing this guy in the front row. He's got his daughter like covered up because there's full beers and waters coming out behind him. First of all, that's a $22 beer, bro.
Yeah.
If you can afford to throw a $22 beer, you're doing a lot better than me.
He's the same guy that's revving up his engine out here on McCorkle.
That bottle
Paying
of water was probably $12.
a gallon of gas, and he's over there revving up his engine. Like
that bottle of water was worth 2 gallons of gas.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys I don't know what's going on there, but that's just unfortunate, man.
it's the same fans that are chasing away good officials too, because they don't want to put up with this.
I saw that too. Yeah, was that local that we had a shortage of officials this last week or umpires?
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but it's happening.
Well, and that girl that posted that thing where she got punched in the face.
Punched in the face. Yeah.
Lord, guys, I don't know, man. It's every day I look around and Kelsey's a lot younger than me, and I just tell her, I should have been born 50 years earlier. I don't belong here. I don't understand most of these people. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
I get tore up, but I mean, I'm not going after people.
No, and
and if you're like that, don't go to the game. Stay home.
I mean, I can remember instances, especially the Miami game in the 90s, where WU fans would throw stuff at teams, but guess what? They lost. Why would you throw stuff at a team after you just won a game?
Yeah, that makes total
celebrate.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah,
but that really doesn't make sense.
It wasn't like, and whoever was playing left field for the Guardians, he didn't turn around after the hit. Like he just went and got the ball and was going to walk off the field.
Yeah, he wasn't saying anything.
And you see a full deuce Coors Light come flying out there. Which, by the way, if I had a Coors Light, I might throw. That's terrible. Those mountains need to be brown, as Ron White once said. But yeah, I don't know. So just a crazy weekend in baseball. But
you got softball going too.
Got softball.
Have any good games last week?
Yeah, I had 2 extra inning games in a row. Got to see Nitro outlast Hurricane 1-0.
Oh, that's right.
Lena Elkins continuing just to cook. And then Friday when we were here that night, I went out and saw Winfield in Lincoln County.
Yeah, I tried to make it.
Yeah, you missed it.
Couldn't make it.
The Generals score 3 in the bottom of the 7th to tie it. Bring a pinch hitter off the bench in the 8th, and she goes yard to end it.
Schilling?
Kennedy Schilling, yeah making her name known.
She lives right down the street from me.
Yeah, I think she's a basketball player too. And once again, I mean, we're loaded to the tilt again. We've got
and here I'm thinking, man, Lincoln County looks really good.
And that was their second loss, and
Winfield steps up.
But Winfield's really good too.
I
mean, you've got, and then the next day, to your point, Nitro beats Winfield 10-0.
Oh my goodness!
And then Winfield turns around and beats South Charleston at extra innings on the same day. There's about 7, 8, 9, 10 schools within a 100-mile radius of here that can beat each other on any given day, and we're going. Got Sissonville Nitro tonight. Got South Charleston Hurricane tomorrow, which we saw the first time, and that was a 1-run good game. Yeah. And then look out up at Little Creek this weekend, MSAC tournament. That'll be fun.
Up at the Rock.
Yeah. So and then Hoover Sissonville Thursday, and I'll have a really nice little feature story coming out of that game. I don't want to ruin that yet, so I won't talk about it here. We'll talk about it Friday. But
I still want to see Wahama play in person.
And then you got Wahama, who I haven't seen yet either. And oh, by the way, so Hoover goes from 10-run rule in St. Albans on Thursday to losing to Logan on Friday.
Jeez.
That's softball. This is what we've seen all year long, and it's just this postseason's going to be nuts. So it's going to be fun.
It's good stuff, though.
Yeah, if you're around Friday and Saturday, definitely head up to Little Creek, man. You got the games going on simultaneously in those two fields. Semifinals, 10 a.m. Saturday, championship at 12. But you also have consolation stuff through the day, and then Friday you've got all your playing games.
How many teams get into that?
All of them.
Okay, so all right.
So they'll play a playing game. Because is there 9 or 10 MSAC teams now?
10, I believe.
Even after Woodrow left?
I believe so. Yes.
See, that's what I was told, but I can only count 9. 3 Huntington area teams, 5 in Charleston, Parkersburg. Who else? I don't know. We should have done our research on this first.
You didn't tell me there was going to be math.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to have quarterfinals at one point on Friday night, and then they're going to play semis and championship on Saturday. So trust me, guys, there are worse things you can do with your time.
If it doesn't snow.
If it doesn't snow. Yeah. So all of you that turned your air conditioner on, by the way, give us some feedback online. Let me know if you turned your AC on or not. I'm just interested on how people do this. I'm going to burn up again today. If I can make it one more day, it's going to be nice tomorrow. So going trout fishing tomorrow too. So
there you go.
There you go.
Wetting the line is what they say.
It's been too long. So yeah.
So next time you're in, we're getting a fishing update.
You will have a trout fishing update from Sutton Dam. Yeah, on Friday. Friday, who we have coming on Friday? Brandon get somebody?
You told me, I forgot.
Yeah, we'll have somebody Friday.
I don't even know what day it is. So.
Yeah, I don't either. And then next Monday, we're going to have Marshall catcher and former state player of the year, Katie Adams, on. She was going to come today, but she kind of had this thing called finals from 11 to 1. And I said, you know what? Take care of that first.
A little bit more important.
We'll just, we'll give you a break today. So they're cooking. I mean, they're 32 and 12 or something. Yeah. So we'll have an update for them by next week. But
regular season in the Mountain East Conference in baseball, and softball is winding down. A few more weeks of that, and then they get into conference tournament play. So
yeah, we'll try to get some people on for that too when they get into that stuff as well. So we'll keep you here, man. And if you guys have any requests, any input, any guest requests, anything like that, shout us out. Like I said, it'd be impossible to get online and not see us somewhere. So again, thanks to our partners, Video Productions, HD Media. Thanks to Generations. Thanks to you, Jack, for riding around with me today. While the captain was gone, the boat's still floating.
We're still floating.
And we're on time.
Now we got to park it.
You want to park it now?
That's the worst part.
Let's bring it home. All right, guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks. See you.